And the 124th Brawl of the Wild is officially here as the countdown to kickoff begins. Now this week, the Montana State University Bobcats are getting ready to make their way to Missoula, squaring off against rivals, the University of Montana Grizzlies. Now the Grizz enter this matchup in number 2 in the country and 11-0 on the season. Now MTN's Kyle Hansen takes a look back at their season as this led to this moment.
It's arguably the biggest brawl of them all, as number 2 Montana and number 3 Montana State will meet right here at Washington Grizzlies Stadium on Saturday at noon with the outright Big Sky Conference Championship on the line. But before we look forward, let's take a look back and see how the 11-0 Grizzlies got to this point. The Grizzlies were the preseason number 7 team nationally, and the biggest storyline entering the season would be their schedule, with the bye coming in week 1, followed by 12 consecutive games. Opened it with a bang over Division II Central Washington and followed that up with a thriller against North Dakota, where the Grizz scored in the final minutes after trailing all game to pick up the statement win. A blowout over Indiana State followed that, which set up a then top 10 nationally televised night game against Idaho, where the Grizz rolled past the Vandals to retain the Little Brown Stein, and the Grizz offense began to solidify itself as one of the best in the FCS. The first road trip of the season was after that, where again the team faced a high-powered offense and adversity from the Bengals, but a breakout game from Michael Wortham lifted the Grizz to a comeback victory in Pocatello. A homecoming date with Cal Poly marked the halfway point, as broke out the throwback copper and gold uniforms. And after beating the Mustangs, Montana welcomed Sacred Heart the next week in a mid-season non-conference contest that marked 6 home games in 7 weeks, and another win for the Grizzlies. Game 8 brought all the fireworks as Montana traveled to Sacramento State, and with plenty of trash talk leading up to the game, the Grizz took home the Panda Bowl after another offensive onslaught under the lights on national TV once again. A road win over Weber State would snap a losing streak in Ogden, and the following week, played Eastern Washington too close for comfort, as a fumbled spike by the Eagles proved to be the difference, as the Grizzlies held on. And the latest chapter was a return to Providence Park in Portland, as the Grizzlies used 5 interceptions and plenty of offense to blow out the Vikings. So now it's the 124th Brawl of the Wild, and while is locked into a bye in the opening week, a win over the Bobcats would solidify home field advantage in the playoffs, and of course, bragging rights within the Treasure State. Reporting in Missoula, Kyle Hansen, MTN Sports.
MSU's Bobcats are starting off in the number 3 seed, going 9-2 so far this season overall, and the Brawl of the Wild matchup against the Grizz could bring the Cats their first win away from home. MTN's Grace Lawrence joins us from Bobcats Stadium in Bozeman with what to keep an eye out for.
If you want to talk about high stakes, then let's talk about the 124th Brawl of the Wild that will take place on Saturday. High seeding, a Big Sky championship, and bragging rights will all be on the line. Montana State sits at 3rd in the country, 9-2 overall, and will try and grab the first road win in this series since 2018 this upcoming Saturday. Let's see how they got here. The Cats had a gauntlet to start the season, which began in Eugene, Oregon, against one of the top FBS teams in the Ducks. After a 59-13 loss, the attention turned to Gold Rush, a top 3 matchup against South Dakota State. The game had it all, a blocked punt for a score, wild touchdowns, and ended in double overtime, where the Cats fell inches short and lost 30-24. But the team would not let an 0-2 start define the rest of the year, as they finished the non-conference 2-0 and stamped a major 57-3 win over Eastern Washington in Bobcats Stadium to start conference play. The attention turned to 13th-ranked Northern Arizona as the Cats traveled down to the walk-up Sky Dome. It was Taco Tuesday on Saturday, as Dowler sparked his team with the longest punt return touchdown in program history. Julius Davis had a SportsCenter top 10 hurdle for a touchdown, and MSU went home with a big 34-10 win. The momentum carried into victories over the next four conference foes in Idaho State, Cal Poly, UNC, and Weber State. Then it was a top 10 showdown in Bozeman on November 15th against UC Davis. In front of a national audience, the defense stole the show, as Captain Caden Dowler had a Player of the Week performance for the second week in a row. The Cats rolled to a 38-17 win. MSU started FCS regular season play with a top 3 game and will end with one as they face the number 2 Grizz this Saturday. Reporting in Bozeman for MTN Sports, I'm Grace Lawrence.
And you can catch all of the Brawl of the Wild action right here on Q2 this Saturday. Coverage starts at 11 a.m. with kickoff slated for noon. And be sure to stick around after the game for the MTN News post-game show. Stay tuned for our 6 o'clock hour as we have some exciting news that you can only find on Montana This Morning as Billings also gears up for the big game.